what's going on, film fans? Welcome back to our YouTube channel. We are The Usual Skeptics. Here we talk about movie reviews, entertainment news, streaming, all that sorts of good stuff. We are here back again, third week in a row, episode 3 of Miss Marvel, spoiler discussion. In case y'all haven't seen the episode, go give it a watch, come back, and join us. As always, Wes, how you doing today, my friend?
I'm doing good, my friend. Living the dream. Had a good week, man. Ready to get filming again, bro. I've missed it, so let's go ahead and dive right into Miss Marvel.
All right, and with our speaking of third episode, this is our third try in recording this, so hopefully YouTube will bear with us here. Anyhow, going into Miss Marvel, I was kind of like, let's see what happens. I actually liked the first episode. I thought it was very well done. I thought it was very solid. Loved the John Hughes vibes, all that kind of stuff. Episode 2, I thought it was still pretty good. Kind of the same level as episode 1. My only gripe with episode 1 was it's not getting any story. I was like, episode 2, it gave me more story, right? I liked it. Episode 3. So this episode, I'm not gonna lie, dude. The one word that describes this to me is stagnant. What do you think about that? Does that term kind of apply to kind of what you're thinking? And because it didn't deliver this show. I'm gonna say we're about halfway through now. I'm gonna assume that it's 6 episodes. This episode was stagnant. Yeah, we got a little bit of plot. Yeah, we got a little bit more character. Yeah, we got blah, blah, blah. But it felt stagnant. I like the episode overall, but I don't know, man. What's your general thoughts?
So, as in previous episodes, I'll keep it short and sweet.
Short and sweet.
I can't get into this character. I don't know why. Like, I've tried. Last week's a little bit better. This week, I mean, the action scenes, okay, I get it. But my biggest thought is, we said it before. I want them to bring, new characters and everything in. And Gabe agrees with me. We both want them to bring characters in, because we've lost a few. So, the thing is, whenever you're bringing somebody in, I want somebody that's as badass or better
Right.
than the Captain Americas and Iron Man's. And if they're just going for a children's program, cool, like that's fine. But I can't see Miss Marvel standing with Black Panther against somebody like a Thanos or even more coming up, Gore.
Right.
Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just couldn't see it. Now,
I feel that.
if they are wanting to do it just as a children's show and maybe she does a cameo somewhere, okay. But I can't, I don't want them, I just don't know where their head's at. So, and that's what I think. And stagnant, yes. More than that for me. So,
yeah.
But you go ahead. You tell them everything that you like. So,
I mean, like, look, I'm. It's weird because I like the show. I think it's great. It's not as good as The Boys. The Boys is the best thing on TV right now. I don't know how many times we've said that. The Boys is the greatest thing out right now. And by the way, the newest episode dropped a little bit early. It's actually out now. Haven't had a chance to watch it. Won't be able to watch it until tomorrow. But my God, cannot wait to see it. Stay off the internet for that one. Anyhow, with this episode, look, I like Aman Vellani as Kamala Khan. I think she's great. I think she's very quippy. Reminds me a lot of the Peter Parker element that we've had in the MCU. It brings that kind of tone as of a Ant-Man / Spider-Man type of feel. And with the MCU fan base, and I am going somewhere with this, is that the MCU is now in its, with Thor: Love and Thunder, I think the world premieres tonight for critics and invitations and such. The world premieres tonight. I mean, how many movies are we in? 20? Is it 28 or total project, something like that? Up high 20s. And so I get it. They're going to have to do stuff new without rebooting the MCU, without rebooting the entire thing. They're going to have to do new stuff. And us as fans, I'm including all of us in this because Wes, I'm sure you've done it. I know I've done it, and I've heard other people do it. When we clamor for, the MCU just does the same stuff, which I've never said that, but I'm just saying, what I mean, what I do and what you do and everybody else does is we're like, okay, can't wait for the next thing. Marvel, you just give us the next thing you got. You nail it to us. And a lot of times we're like, yeah, that was kind of meh, you know. I'm not saying Miss Marvel's a meh. Seems like that's kind of more your approach, but me with this episode, it look, I'm not going to judge it based off only 3 episodes, but I am judging it on an episode to episode basis. Right now, I'm liking the show. Episodes 1 and 2, I liked. This one, I mean, overall, yes, I liked, but this episode got me most of the complaints. So I'm going to say it's my least favorite episode of the 3. I will say, because I have the most complaints in this episode. Episode 1, my biggest complaint was, what's the story? You just showed us 45 minutes of footage. What's the story? Episode 2 is like, okay, get a little bit more story, got a little bit more character development. Solid episode for me. This episode, I'm like, there were so many things in this episode, by the way, and we'll go ahead and dig right into this thing is, look, in the beginning, I kind of liked the opening scene. I thought it was kind of great. I think it's planting seeds that we're going to see later on. I don't know if it's going to come to fruition by the end of the series. However, I do think the Shang-Chi references and all that, it shows the Jin, I believe they're called the Jins, circled around on the 10 rings kind of logo, symbol, whatever you want to call it. And looked like we got a Kree arm that bangle was on. So, I mean, yeah, I think we're going to see more of that in the future. The rest of the episode was, I mean, it was okay. I mean, when it ended, I was like, oh, it's already over. I don't know. It's kind of, that's why I'm saying this episode, like I said, it done several things where it's like, I seen that coming a mile away. And I kept thinking that and kept thinking that and kept thinking that. Anyway, what's your thoughts on that, man?
Oh, I mean, just like you, whenever it was like it was, whenever it just cut scene, I was like, oh, it's finally over.
Oh my God. Well, I never thought that. I just mean, as soon as the episode ended, I was like, oh, it's over. But I wanted more. These episodes, when we say we want more, in this case, it's like, man, that was cut way too short. We need more, not in the sense of, oh, that was a great cliffhanger, can't wait to see more. It's not like that. It's like it looked like it just kind of cut off, and it needed like more 10 to 15 minutes to make a more coherent episode story. And dude, I'm not gonna lie, that if the MCU shows are gonna keep doing this lackluster seasons of television on for the MCU Disney Plus shows, I'm not going to have much faith in She-Hulk. I'm not going to have much faith in Andor, another Star Wars show. I'm not going to have much faith in Ahsoka. We've been burned. I've been burned too many times. I'm not saying I'm not liking Miss Marvel. I like it, but it's not as good as Moon Knight. Now, we know our thoughts about Moon Knight, the Moon Knight finale. I liked Moon Knight a lot. It's my second favorite Disney Plus show, or Disney Plus MCU Plus show, and MCU Plus. But it's one of those things that, look, this show's going to have to really hit it home. We're now halfway through with the 3rd episode, but there were things in there where it's like, okay, the Jins are in the room with Kamala Khan's house. They're in the room with her, and they're like basically telling her, "We need you to help us get home," or whatever they're saying, right? And then a couple scenes later, they're like, okay, we got to go track her down. Oh, we found her at her brother's wedding. Let's go get her. Oh, she's running from us. And I'm like, you literally had her, dude. I don't understand what this, but yes, go ahead.
But that's the whole thing. So I think they were expecting her. I think what they're trying to do with the story is like, whenever they said, hey, we need your help, to get us home, they were expecting her to be like a young kid and just be like,
okay,
here you go. Like I said, it's one of those things where I'm like, man, like I really can't get into it. I think it's just because of how young it's going for. And like I said, it's one of those things where I'm the type of person that if you're going to bring somebody like that into the MCU, if you're going to do that, I want them to be, like I said, a badass or better than what we already have out there.
Yeah.
And I just don't see that. Now, That is not taken away from her performance. I do believe like she's a great actor. I think she's doing a great job for the genre that she's
Right.
in. I really do. Um, I just don't really like the show because it's not something that I'm into, which is okay. Because we all have different opinions, man. I mean, that's why we do the show. I mean, I'm not gonna always agree with Gabe, or this would be the most boring show, and it would be wouldn't nobody want to watch it. Like I like watching things where people don't agree on things. It's just it's how it is. But getting back to the show, Kamala Khan does a great job at acting. I just like I wish they would do a little bit better job of maybe doing teenage slash adulting in it. You know what I mean? And that's my biggest
Yeah.
conflict with it. You know what I mean? It needs to be for teenagers, but also for adults. So
Right. And I'm kind of feeling like, look, this show is I feel the same way how I do about Moon Knight. I said Moon Knight is my second favorite Disney Plus show. The out of the MCU shows, WandaVision being number one. This season of television, it's not it doesn't feel like it belongs within the MCU. It feels like it is kind of separate. It feels like its own thing. And I understand now, look, in this episode as a whole, and what I'm trying to say is there's not a lot in this episode to really talk about. That's why I said that's why I said it feels kind of stagnant because excuse me, because I feel like we're getting to a point where, it's like, look, I feel the same thing about Moon Knight though. I feel like Moon Knight doesn't really fit within the MCU because they're trying different things, and that's fine. And for this franchise to move forward without rebooting, you're going to have to try new things. But I think I'm worried that the MCU at this point has become a product of uh, or a failure by design. I mean, I fear. I'm not saying it's happening, but I fear that the MCU, because the movies haven't been. I mean, we haven't had that many movies since Endgame, but I feel like even the movies, Black Widow, No Way Home. I like No Way Home, but it had some problems. Doctor Strange, Multiverse of Madness. I really enjoyed Multiverse of Madness. Had some problems. Black Widow had some problems. I like Eternals more than most people, but it had a couple problems. I fear that the MCU has become an event where it's like, yeah, we kind of are just throwing things out there, and it feel like, oh yes, yes,
well, I just wanted to agree with you on the whole Moon Knight thing.
right.
I I I agree that I don't know if it fits within the MCU yet.
Yet, yes.
But I do know that if you gave me a choice between Miss Marvel and Moon Knight to face somebody like Thanos or
Thanos
any
level
of the
threat, yeah.
other, who am I picking? I'm gonna be like, yeah, give me the dude who's got like three personalities. We good. Like that's which one I want. I want the crazy man.
Right.
Oh, you don't want a teenager? No, no, I don't want no part of that. I want
Yeah.
that one. You know what I mean?
Now,
And that's the honest opinion. That's why I'm like,
yeah,
I mean, I could see
I
him
feel that.
fitting in better, but I don't know if he does. Do you know what I'm saying? Like, I
Exactly.
agree with you on
Yes.
that. You know what I mean?
And I
So
feel the same
I do
way.
agree with you.
And look, I like Miss Marvel, and I kind of want to. I feel like we're just kind of nitpicking too much. I'm going to go in some of the positives of this episode just to kind of mix it up a little bit. I love the character of Kamala Khan. I think she's very quippy. I think she's very funny. There's a lot of situational comedy with her that I think's great. She's got these blanket expressions that I think are cute, and they're fun to just watch her act. And I think it's really entertaining. It entertains me. And these characters, whether it's the it's my favorite scene of the whole episode. But it's where she's talking to that guy from the mosque, the main, not a rabbi, but one of the what's his, I don't know what they're called, and forgive me, I don't know. Um, but it's the one that she's saying, "Hey, how do you be good?" And he's like, "No one is good. No one learns to be good. They are. You have to choose, or something like that." I thought that was a great moment. I thought it was a really good moment for her because she's trying to figure out what can I do to make things right. She's lied to her best friend. She's trying to get Bruno to help her out, and she knows she's kind of putting him at risk, even after knowing what's kind of going on there. Her family's kind of like, "Hey, what's going on with you?" And I will say this about Miss Marvel: it's doing a really good job at allowing the audience, I feel like, I feel like it's very relatable. Put the MCU aside for a second. Put beside how it's going to fit within the MCU for a second, and really take into consideration, how is this show, what's it trying to communicate? What story is it trying to tell the audience? And to me, I feel like it's doing a good job at allowing the audience to relate to the character. There's a lot of moments where it's very relatable. Now, even though it's a different cultural background, even though we're seeing different cultures and other representation other than white male leads, or whatever the case, a good story is a good story. I don't care what medium it is, whether it's a
which I
book,
think
movie, TV.
is
And I think they did a really good job here. Yeah.
which I think is great that they're doing, because you're like, I had no idea. I don't like, I didn't we didn't grow up that way. Me or
Right.
you, neither one. But to see
Nope.
how the most Muslim culture is like
Yep.
in a different perspective, you know what I
Yes.
mean? You can watch a Michael Bay film and
Right.
they, you know what I'm saying? Like, and then
Right.
they portray them a certain way, but to have it in a fun, lighthearted type way, I think is great, because it's
Yeah.
educating people that don't really know a lot about the culture, to be honest.
And
You
not
know what
just
I'm saying?
that, but it's allowing you to, like when Kamala in the previous episode got the text from that boy, and they're kind of talking back and forth, and obviously we end up realizing he's one of the people in that group that
Yeah.
you relate to that. You're like, oh, I remember when my crush started talking to me, or you like, you know what I'm saying? And it didn't matter what the color of her skin was. It didn't matter what the cultural background is. It didn't matter what religion that she has. It's relatable, and to me, that's important for storytelling, because at the end of the day, a good story is a good story. What doesn't matter, the color, race, gender, it doesn't matter. And to me, this show does excellent at those points. But it's got to do more than that. It's got to hit at more than being relatable. It's got to be able to communicate a coherent narrative. And like I said, we're 3 episodes in, and this episode is the first. I'm not going to say I didn't like the episode. It's a thumbs up for me, but at the same time, this is a really interesting topic, because I feel quite stagnant on this episode. As I've said, that's the only word that comes to mind. I didn't hate it. I didn't love it, although I didn't love the last 2 episodes, but it just felt stagnant. And I'm like, okay, what's the story? And one person can say, oh, it's about Kamala. It's a coming of age story. It's like, okay, we've seen those before. How many times we gotta see a coming of age story? Do the same thing, but do it differently. How many people are on here? How many idiots are on here on YouTube talking about movies? A lot, but
Including us.
including us. We are, but you know what? We're offering our own opinion and insights on things. That's what separates Wes and I from the rest of the community, is that we have our own honest to God opinions. Even though we're trying to communicate and articulate what we're trying to say, I feel like the episode's stagnant. Wes feels like it's not a show for him, and I get it. I like it better than he does. He doesn't like it as much as I do, and that's totally fine. But I am at this point, and I have thought this for a while. I'm not saying it's where we're going, but I am worried for the MCU. But that's a different topic for a different time. But with this episode altogether, there's some things I didn't like, and with the thing, not just with them trying to track down Kamala and all that kind of stuff, and being like, but you had her just a few scenes ago. Why is this any different? Not only that, but the wedding. The longer the wedding scene was taking place, something's bad going to happen. Oh,
Yeah.
there it is.
Yeah.
And
For sure.
I will
Mhm.
say, I thought it was pretty cool. And even my kids kind of freaked out when she went to reach for Bruno. I think it was Bruno that one guy hit. And she had the classic from the comics. She had her hand enlarged to a giant fist. I thought that was kind of dope. So her powers. But I want to know this story. Characters are fine, right? Characters are what drive the story. Absolutely. But if there's no story, your characters are only as good as your story. At least that's kind of how I see it.
Another
But
another thing that comes to mind for me for this series has been like predictable.
yeah,
I mean,
that's what I'm saying. This
it's
episode
been
has been,
very
yes,
very predictable.
very.
Whenever you watch it, you're just like, oh, like you said before, this is about to happen. Oh, there it did. Oh, oh, I know where this is going. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And that's why I
Yep.
say stagnant. Yeah, that's exactly why.
So predictable. But
But
anyway, so I mean, I think we've given pretty much all of our thoughts on this
that's what I
and
was
all
about
that.
to
There's not too
say.
much to
Yeah,
say. I
there's
mean, it's look, we're we got, I don't know how many episodes this is going to be. Do you know if it's 6 or
yeah.
8 or something like that? Something like that. But we're still going to watch this. I'm still going to watch it. It's one of those things where I'm in too deep now to like turn back. So but maybe it'll turn around. I don't know. What we all we can do is watch, see, kind of take everything as face value and everything like that. So but that being said, thank you guys for watching. You can find me on Twitter at Wes Rathbone 86 down here. I'd love to hear your thoughts, or you can condemn me for not liking it. Either way, but we do appreciate you guys
We
for
do.
subscribing, watching, doing all that. So please continue to do that. If you're new to our channel, please subscribe, like, comment, do all that good stuff, share it. Gabe, tell them where they can find you.
Yes, sir. You can find me simply at Voice of Film. Just search for me on TikTok and Twitter there. On TikTok, I post daily news over there, whether it's entertainment, movie streaming, fandom related content, all that sorts of good stuff. I do want to touch on one quick thing before we sign off is look, we're not trying to watch the show just to hate on it. There is good to come out of this. Like for me, I like the show. If we weren't doing this, I don't think Wes would watch the show. But if it's not good, it's not good. The reason we're watching it is it's MCU, and we don't want to go into the Marvels and be like, okay, what the crap, what's going on? But if it's not good, I don't care if it has Marvel on it. I don't care if it has Disney on it. I don't care if it has Star Wars or DC or anything like that. If it's not good, that's up to us to be like, hey, call it like we see it. But we're also going to call it like we see it when they do something right. It's the same thing. So no, I don't think Wes is just bash on it, and he watched it and gave his honest opinion. And I like I said, I liked the first 2 episodes. I did. I like this episode. Just felt quite stagnant. Like he said, hopefully next week he'll end up better because I am liking the characters for sure. Loving her relationship with her parents. Her friend Bruno. I'm liking all that. I really am. The best friend. I'm liking quite a lot. So there was a lot to like about this episode. But it's like, okay, tell us why the show was made, right? But anyhow, like I said, you can find me simply at Voice of Film here on TikTok and Twitter. Be sure to find me there. We have been the usual skeptics. Be sure to tune in for our we got an Obi-Wan finale spoiler discussion. Just search that at our channel there. And we got The Boys. Is it episode 6 now? I think it's episode 6 video coming out tomorrow. So be on the lookout for that. Again, we hope we can hopefully it'll turn around next week. So that's been Wes. I've been Gabe. We've been the usual skeptics, and we will see y'all in the next video.